You have learned much, young one.
Megtooth sabers requires a lot of work on engineering, drilling, smoothing, tapping, setting, imagining, cutting, stripping, twisting, dipping, tin it, pin it, wire it, fire it, lock it, blast it, swing it, bash it. Megtooth sabers.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Greetings, Saber fans. It's your old pal Megtooth Sith. I see you guys over there. We're getting ready to set something up here. But before we do that, I wanted to show you guys something. So let's come over here since we're sharing the window. And tonight I'm going to be demonstrating a bunch of fonts by Kyberphonic fonts. And you can go to Jesse's site and find all these fonts at www.kyberphonicfonts.com. He does not sell his fonts on saberfont.com. I know a lot of you are used to Saberfont. Jesse runs his own sales website, and it's simple enough to use, and you can see all his sound fonts that are available for sale there, and there's a lot of them. Jesse's making a bunch of sound fonts, and tonight we're going to demonstrate some of those for you, and we'll see how this works out. Echo. Well, why do we have an echo? Hopefully, still don't have an echo. We'll see. So at any rate, before we roll that beautiful fiend bean footage, stand by. Bam! Here we go, folks. So we're going to demonstrate these fonts on this saber, which is my Dark Force Customs Saber Transcendence. I see my dog's down here. See him down here? He's always with me. But at any rate, the cool part about this saber, and I didn't talk about this too much, but it's in the title of the video. But this saber is programmed with Kyberphonics, our echo. It's fixed. Sweet. I just want to check and make sure the echo's fixed before we begin this. Program this saber chock full of Kyberphonic sound fonts and appropriate blades for each. One of the sound fonts has a really special blade made by Vet263, who's on the stream tonight. We'll get to that in a second. One of these sound fonts is my favorite all-time sound font, and I'll tell you about that one when we get there. But the cool part about this saber is it's also equipped with Battle Mode by Fernando. So I'm going to swing on to get it. Now, normally we used to have to push a button. You can see the buttons there, and I'm going to keep the buttons so you guys can see them, but I'm not pressing them. But normally to get a lockup, you had to press the aux or something, or press power while you strike the saber. Now we get lockup, and it stays until I pull the saber away. But we also get melt, responsive with that color change, and tip drag. And there's tip drag, which is really awesome, and gestures. So I'm going to demonstrate these fonts. I'm going to try to demonstrate some of them with battle mode and some of them without, because when you have it in battle mode, you lose some of the sound effects. But this first font is Royalty, and this is a Princess Leia sound font from The Rise of Skywalker by Kyberphonics. I'm going to ignite it in battle mode first. Stop and force lightning. sounds. Now let's get it out of battle mode. All right, now we're out of battle mode, and you get normal classes. Blasters. Let's put it in auto blast. Get a blast every time you swing it. Get it out of auto blast. Just found a glitch for you, and we'll have to work on that. The Princess. The next one, and y'all know that I love Kylo Ren, and I'll try and get to y'all's comments in a minute, but the next one is Unstable. Now, Jesse has two versions of Unstable. When you buy his font, I think you get both. This is the second version of his Unstable, which is the Kylo Ren sound font. And let's ignite it in battle mode. That's that responsive lock up and moves up and down the blade. And as soon as you pull the saber away from a blade, the lockup stops. But you can still have it on there, so you pull it away, then the lockup will stop. Of course, you have melt. Oops. There's melt. Tip drag. Tip drag is really sensitive to fast movement. But there's tip drag. Let's do blasters. Let's put it on auto blast. Get a blast effect every time you swing it. That's got it out of auto blast. Let's take it out of battle mode. Get normal class. Next one. This is Lord of Hunger. Lord of Hunger. Lord of Hunger. This is a Darth Nihilus font, and this is from Kyberphonics did a whole Old Republic series, and you can buy his whole series on there on his website that I showed you at the beginning of the video tonight, or you can just buy a single one of them. But this one is the Lord of Hunger. This is his Darth Nihilus font, and in the background, I'm not going to play background music. No. I don't want background music on. But let's bring in Darth Nihilus in battle mode. You can hear the Darth Nihilus crazy speak. It's subtle in the background, a lot subtler than she means, but it's there. Oof, got a lock up by swinging it so hard. Really growly like Kylo Ren, but not quite as unstable. There's your lock up in battle mode. Melt. Tip drag. Lightning block. Let's take it out of battle mode. This way we get his true clashes. next sound font is going to be the Father. This is, of course, a Darth Vader font. Darth Vader, ignited in battle mode. This red. It's hard to get thick red sometimes, so you have to go fast. But there it is. We're in battle mode again. 2 blasters. Auto blast. You Darth Vader in the Rogue One hallway, blasting, blocking blasters. Now we're out of auto blast mode. Let's get out of battle mode. Now we're back in normal mode on the saber. So you get your normal flashes without the lockdown. I don't know how the sound's going to turn out, guys, because we're on my mic. But, you know, this thing is just crazy. Oh, yeah, sandals, dang it. My sandals got in the frame there. Oh, well. I'll try to get to y'all's comments here in a minute. But we're getting ready to go to my favorite font from Jesse Kirkbride from Kyberphonics. And this is A New Hope Training with the Millennium Falcon taking off in the background. And then I'm going to play the background track while I'm playing this one because it's important. The background track is the background audio in the Millennium Falcon when Luke was doing his drone training. And I'm going to turn on Auto Blaster.
Well, good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, it's something else. Well, good against remotes is one thing. The living is something else. You made a fan screaming. Heavens, no wise. Look, good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living is something else. Eyes can deceive you, don't trust them.
As we lock up in battle mode. Now I'm going to take it out of battle mode. So you guys can hear the normal flashes. That. Which we're not in battle mode, so the melt's not staying. But if I put it in battle mode.
In my experience,
There's your melt. And tip drag. This one is Piece of Junk. This is a Millennium Falcon themed sound font, and also it's got FET 263's Hyperspace Blade, which was designed to pair with the sound font. So it's a Millennium Falcon theme. It's not really for lightsabers, but it's just another cool one. And from the center, it looks like the thrust is going out. So what Fernando did is he basically started this effect in the center of the blade, and it goes toward the bottom from the center and then to the top from the center. When you lock up the blade, and the blaster from the Millennium Falcons, put it in auto blast. The next sound font is ESB Graphics.
The force is with you, young Skywalker. From the Jedi. Your destiny lies with me, Skywalker. Don't make me destroy you.
Blasters. Melt. Oops. There's Melt. And tip drag. See if Melt works here against the wall like Fernando. There it goes. ESP Graphics is just an awesome, awesome font. Very good for a Graphics lightsaber. Next font. My little green friend. Block and lightning. Much to learn you still have. Blasters. Next font is going to be Scavenger's Destiny. This is from the Rise of Skywalker. This is her gold saber. Has a little bit of a pre-on. Listen. That's Fernando's blade. Lockup, which is responsive lockup. Melt. Tip drag. Blaster blocks. Then the next one is an Emperor sound font.
Let me help you to know the subtleties of the Force. Let me help you to know the subtleties of the Force.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
And we shall have peace. Really growly sound font. This would be great for a Sith. There's Let's get it out of battle mode. Normal clashes.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.
The Emperor. It's a great sound font if you have an Emperor lightsaber. The next one,
You ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Tragedy, which is a Darth Plagueis sound font. I'm going to turn on the background music on this one. Hopefully you guys can hear that. There's your battle mode lockout. Nope. Tip drag. Let's go to auto blasters. Really growly font. All Kyberphonic synth fonts are very growly in their tones and accent tones. Next font
Hello, Master. It's been a while.
is Commander Tano. This is an Ahsoka font. Background. I know that blade's the wrong color. There's your blast. Let's take it out of battle mode. There's normal classes. I'm going to turn off the background music so y'all can hear it. Commander Tano. A lot of the force sounds on that one. And the last one, Menace. This is Menace. Background on this one is Duel of the Fates. I'm going to turn the background track off. I cannot wait to build a dual staff saber with dual crosses and put this sound font in there. Get it out of that. Blasters. Force.
You are nothing. I sense your terror. I sense your terror. Such weak flesh. Give up. Choke in my grasp. Give up.
Menace by Kyberphonics. So when you buy Jesse's sound fonts, you get sound fonts for CFX, Proffie, and Verso. I don't know if they convert over to Golden Harvest, but I'm pretty sure just like I can take a CFX font and turn it into Proffie or Verso, and I'm sure that some way these are cross-compatible with Golden Harvest. But I wanted y'all to hear some of those. My sound is not going to be as good as Jesse's because, oops, Jesse's giving you direct sound right from his speaker, but hopefully you guys got to see some of how that's going to work. I'm going to change scenes here, so I'm going to put y'all to a video by Kirk Pratt, so stand by, and then I'll be back. We're going to put y'all to, let's see here, I'm going to mute mine. And we're going to go to
slow touch, brown and white. We can go punch, grab and bite. We can go bust, eye for eye. Trust, white rum, easy pop. Where you they go up. Catch my vibe, let me go off. Blam the when it's over. Alright, yo, put the belly rub by me for coach. Watch when she wanna give crutch. Boy got peas, now she hopping in the pod. Man, I really like she got gal in my house. When she want dogs, so to meet me at the top. Switching lanes the other day, I seen her waiting for a bus. Give me this a Moncler sweater, diesel denim. Flying over with my pockets fight like heather. Neck froze like I don't know better. Enzo chop white, never. Go broke never. On my grind, she make it clap like I bust a rhyme. I got the juicy sauce and all them things. I blammed her twice a night with all my bling. Big Benz I drive, I brought that thing. Any girl you want to put my ting. Don't run, slow touch, brown and white. Like I go country, grab and buy. We can go bust, eye for eye. We can lose trust, right wrong, easy pop. Where you they go?
whoa. Yeah, it's a lot of audio. Y'all stand by. I'm going to kind of, bam. We're getting set up for the next. So I'm going to have to go back and read all the comments, but the audio from my output tonight, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but hopefully it turned out good. I fit a lot of presets on there, Brian Connor, because I only have one blade on that saber. Yeah, I know. I really hope the sound turned out well. I'm never going to know until I turn on the video and watch it. But Jesse Kirkbride is one of my favorite font makers. I know I don't give him a lot of credit. A lot of my sabers have fonts by KSIF, but a lot of my personal sabers and a lot of my customer sabers I'm churning out are going, Kyberphonics. I have a lot of Kyberphonics and a lot of KSIF stuff on my sabers. I think the reason I weigh so heavily toward those guys is because they have so many great SIF fonts on them, and I really like KSIF and Jesse Kirkbride Kyberphonic SIF fonts, but they're a lot of fun. All of Jesse's fonts have a lot more features than I presented. He's got options and extras and force sounds and background tracks you can add in. And each of his fonts, when you buy one from Jesse, you're getting the CFX version, the Proffie version, and the Verso version, and you get all of his extras. It's a great font. Just really quick, I wanted to share his website for everyone again, for anybody that joins this midstream. Jesse's website is www.kyberphonicfonts.com, kyberphonicfonts.com, and then that way y'all can find Jesse's website and you want to buy his fonts. Jesse's fonts aren't available on Saber Font like a lot of the other font makers, which is fine. Jesse went his own way and created his own site, and I think his site's friendly and easy to use. I use it a lot. Had to use it this week and don't have any problems with it. But at any rate, I think we're going to move on into the video from other stuff that I want to do, and I don't know that we'll finish everything tonight, but if y'all recall last week, and I'm going to go more towards go more towards that. So last week we built this, and I've glued it all together, but we built this adapter, and we didn't test the main blade. We didn't test this on a main blade. Yeah, it's 20% off right now if you buy more than 5 fonts. So he definitely has a good deal going right now. But what I'm going to do tonight is we are going to add in our NeoPixel adapter into this saber that we built. And I'm hoping you guys can see that. I'm cramming the wires down in there. And once I get my adapter down in there, I'm going to use I had one out, I don't know where I put it, but I'm going to use a Allen key, and we're going to lock down our adapter inside the saber. And you guys can see our adapter that we built is now down there inside the saber in my shaky hands. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my test blade in here, because we are actually going to test the main adapter here in a bit. And I guess I need to turn in my soldering iron. But there I have my test blade in the saber now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to solder on. Now remember, our main data was purple. So we're going to solder on the black and red wires and get the soldering iron going here. We're going to solder on a black wire on the white wire on the adapter, and the purple wire goes on data, and the red wire goes to red on the adapter. That's what we're fixing to do. And then we're going to be able to test. This is an LGT. This is the LGT Leia. Yeah, I don't have the KR Sabers one. This is the LGT one. And I got this one from Rebel Sabers. Rebel Sabers. Actually, I tried to buy one on the internet, and that didn't work out so good. And then Rebel Sabers and another company helped bail me out. They have to forgive me, but you got me on the spot there. But at any rate, this is an LGT Leia. But anyway, we got the soldering iron heating up, and I'm going to need some solder down here. And what we're going to do is we're going to solder on my test plug onto our wires, and we're actually going to test and make sure that my soldering on the connector worked here as well. So let's see here. Get my data wire up there, and we will solder it first. So if y'all will remember from last week, my data wire for the main blade was the purple wire that we put on the center pin of the connector. And watch this video fail, right? So we're going to solder the data connection there on our green. Now we're going to go red to red. Of course, this is going to be a beast, right? And remember, this is just for testing. You know, inside a saber, you should shrink all these connections, but I'm just testing to make sure that everything works. And this isn't, normally you should have helping hands here, but it is what it is. And I need to get that negative wire a little more separated. The key thing is just make sure none of these wires touch when you're testing. Doing a live video, it's crazy. And the only reason I'm soldering this plug on is just to test. We're just testing it. So now I'm going to bring in my test board, which, you know, Jeff cringes when he sees my test board. And I'm going to plug in my test board. We got data. Damn it, the negative didn't stick there. I really need some helping hands here. I really need some helping hands here. So we're going to bring in some helping hands. Because I obviously can't hold one of those wires still. So I'm sick of screwing around here. We're going to get this to work now. I'm going to breathe in solder fumes because I don't want the fume extractor going while we're doing this. There. So now we're going to get our test battery out. I'm trying to keep all this in frame so you guys can see it. So we wired our adapter in to our test board. Now we're going to turn our test board. Hopefully you guys can see that saber. Let's try to ignite it. Oh yeah, we're in business. So my main blade adapter works. So now we're ready to install these wires into the chassis and send our chassis home for almost the final time. I'm going to disconnect our test board from here. I'm going to desolder our test plug from there. That's why I didn't take the time to shrink wrap it, because as soon as that test is over, we're getting rid of it. Now we're going to take all 4 of our wires. We have a 22 gauge black, a 22 gauge red that are feeding the power to the adapter, and the 2 small 30 gauge wires are data. The purple is data for our main blade, and the brown is data for the accent pixels on the stock connector. So now I'm going to twist all these wires so we can send them on home inside the chassis. And let me get all these other wires kind of out of the way so we can make all this happen. So we're going to send all this stuff into the hill, into the chassis. And I need a pair of forceps so I can grab all that stuff. So there's our black and red wires that are feeding it. There's our purple data wire. And I'm still missing brown. Where is brown? Brown wire don't want to go. Oh, you're going to go. I got her. I got her. So now we have our brown wire, our purple wire, and our red and black wires that are feeding the next NeoPixel connectors. And I'm going to slide in the chassis home and test to make sure I have button reflex, and I do. And basically this saber is ready to install, and I think what I'm going to do is just shove all these wires in there, because what we're going to do on next week's Megtooth Monday is we're going to write the config file for this saber, and we'll install the Proffie that's going in the saber next week. But let's get to your questions for this week. Let me try and catch up on chat. So it looks like that's cool, Space. Israel, yeah, Israel. Jesse does have fantastic fonts. The link didn't show up in the site. I'm sorry about that, Max. For Jesse Kirkbride stuff, hang on a minute. Let's go back to Windows Share, and we will try and show the link for Jesse's website. Let me pull it down. Can you see it there? Hopefully. It's www.kyberphonicfonts.com is Jesse's website, and you can buy his fonts on his website. Trying to get, yeah, Dark Wolf. There you go, Cole. Dark Wolf was the one that hooked me up with this, and with Rebel Sabers. You're absolutely right. Proffie was a thing when I made my Nihilus hill. Greg B, I'm going to show you my Nihilus, which has Proffie in it. This is MHS Nihilus. Let me get the full screen share there so you guys can see this. Stand by. This is my Darth Nihilus hilt. And this is an MHS saber. It's all made by me. I'll try to let you take the whole thing in there. As a crazy, crazy, crazy saber. That thing is awesome, but it's got Proffie in it. I have to show you some stuff on that someday once I get it reworked. But that saber needs to be reworked. But I think what we're going to do is, you know, we're close to calling it a night here tonight, is I'm going to leave all this for next week. And next week, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and write the config file for this Proffie that's going into this saber, and then we're going to go ahead and install the board. So I think next week's plan is going to be the config file and go ahead and install this board on the video next week. But the cool thing is, we know we tested our battery rails and we got power on our battery. We didn't test the speaker, but we tested the NeoPixel connector, both the main blade and the auxiliary LEDs. And we know that power and negative work on that. And on the first video, the first live video, we tested the buttons. So we know the buttons both work on my green, white, and yellow wires. So it's pretty cool that on these Megtooth Monday series, we're actually slowly installing this saber every Monday, which is cool because while I'm talking with you guys, I actually get some work done too. Everybody knows that's been watching my Monday night videos that this saber is for a very special somebody, and there's no need to say who. We all know if you're watching my videos, but I'm going to go ahead and shorten these wires so I can tuck them in there. We should have enough to do our thing. Hopefully I didn't cut them too short, but I don't think I did. And that way we can bring the rear of the hilt on here. Make sure we're not going to get any wires mixed in there. And we'll go ahead and put the hilt on her and put this thing in the package so the special somebody doesn't find it. But the blade adapter's in there. It's all over with the crying. All we got to do is write the config file and install this Proffie. And we'll be putting definitely Kyberphonic's royalty font on there. And that'll be the plan for next week. So, what do y'all got going on? We'll get you back on. Bam! Oh. Woo! It's crazy. My dog's over here like, what's the matter with you? Better chairs are coming. Better chairs are on the way. Hopefully I'll be able to get rid of these clunky chairs finally, and we'll be in business. So let's see what you guys got going on. You could upgrade it for people. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it's easy to upgrade. You can upgrade boards, no problem. Oh, I know. I'm eventually going to have more cameras, but, you know, we're getting along just fine. We're doing okay. The only thing I didn't show you guys tonight was, you know, last week we had some other stuff going on, and I actually misspoke in the video last week. And I stated, you know, when we were initially wiring that LGT Leia, I stated that the negative black wire coming from the NeoPixel adapter hooks into our negative battery wire. That was wrong. Once I saw that in the video, I'm like, wow, I really misspoke there. The negative wire from the NeoPixel adapter is going to hook onto FETs 2 and 3 on the Proffie. And you have to definitely double up those FETs to distribute the amp load, but I misspoke there. Now, the positive wire from the battery is going to join with the positive wire from the NeoPixel adapter, and then I'll also run a pigtail up on that wire junction that'll go to the positive on the Proffie. But y'all will see all that next week. I will try and have all that prepped so we can do the config file. And if we can finish the config file for the LGT Saber, then we'll go ahead and program the Proffie. We'll do all that on video so you can see that. And then we'll go ahead and see if we can install it. And if it's too late to install it, then we'll install it on the following Monday. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Roman Props Mark 1. Yeah, Roman Props is a difficult hilt to install. I have one here myself. I have not installed it. I have it set as a static prop, but it is a great, great hilt. Awesome saber. NeoPixel doesn't necessarily require a bigger battery, Greg. If you're running your Prism 5.1 with an 18650, you can run NeoPixel sabers on an 18650. Initially, when we started doing NeoPixel sabers, everybody was like, yeah, an 18650 is not going to work. But the longer that I run NeoPixel sabers, the more sufficient that I find an 18650. I think the big change in that is that more and more sabers have user replaceable batteries instead of permanently installed batteries. And in that respect, an 18650 works just fine. Yep, 18650s work just fine in NeoPixel sabers. You just have to make sure you have a high a high amp one. Well, I do the config programming with the battle mode. Right now, that battle mode, which I showed y'all some tonight, which is Fernando FET263, that's his genius. That's in beta. Actually, it's in alpha testing. It's not even in beta testing right now. Highly experimental. I'm probably not going to put battle mode per se on that saber. Now, once battle mode is upgraded and 5 point whatever is released, then yeah, we'll add battle mode on that. But the battle mode on this saber, it's still in testing. There's still some glitches. In fact, during the live video tonight, I had a glitch, which I'll have to feed back to Fernando on the TRA. I have to see if I can replicate what happened again tonight. There was a bit earlier in the video where I was having some issues with the saber. It was kind of glitching, and that's why I wouldn't install that. Look, the battle mode is cool, don't get me wrong, and it's working. And 98% of the time, there's no glitches, but 2% of the time there's still some glitches. And just remember, it's because that particular part of the programming in the Proffie OS is still massively in the experimental phase. Yeah, and right now, if you guys could see the number of defines in my config file on that saber tonight, you would die. The very top of my config is probably that long. It's crazy to get all that to work. And I'm sure that Frederick's going to want that reduced, and he's going to want these guys putting a lot of those defined points into their prop files, which I'm sure that's going to happen once it's incorporated. And Fernando's on here. Yeah, it was after a twist, Fernando, that glitch happened tonight, but it wasn't anything major. I was able to quickly get out of the glitch, reignite the saber, and everything worked just fine on the saber after that. But I was throwing a lot at the saber at the moment it happened. But yeah, it did happen after a twist, and I did read that. So everybody also. Fernando, he wasn't here last week because he was in Dark Saber hell, and I'm no longer the only one that has a functioning Dark Saber that was a customer. Fernando, he wants more defines. Fernando is, he got his Dark Saber up and running, and last Monday night, right for my live video, I went on the TRA and I saw the post, and I'm like, whoa, Fernando's busy tonight. And he was. And, Fernando's got his Tuesday night videos going, which sometimes I can make his Tuesday nights and sometimes I can't because I teach bagpipes. I don't know if any of y'all knew that, but I actually teach bagpipes too on Tuesday nights. And sometimes I get home really late Tuesday nights, but yeah, it was intermittent. It's an intermittent problem, Fernando. I can't replicate it all the time, and usually you have to be throwing a bunch at the saber to get it to do it. And sometimes when I'm throwing that much at the saber, that could be my fault because that's not reality. I mean, you don't have all those things happening on the lightsaber and in the movies, where you're, doing a gazillion blaster blocks and then locking up and dislocking and melting and blaster box swing, accent swings. I'm definitely pushing it when it happens. Yeah, I saw that you got the connector in and done, and Fernando, when I wired my saber, I didn't use the connectors, and I did not use those connectors actually wired straight to the soundboard, straight to the NeoPixels, so you can't actually remove my blade. Now, I do have the connectors, but I didn't use them. I just quickly wired up that Dark Saber. It's kind of like a permanent install right now just to see how everything looked and fit. And I'm kind of glad I did because it kind of steered y'all in the right direction. So I was like the guinea pig there, I guess, on that Saber. Go clean the laminator section. Dark Guide's posting from work. Yeah. Yeah, Brian, I work hill. I teach bagpipes. I've been playing bagpipes for 20 years. And one of my instructors actually played at John F. Kennedy's funeral. And another one of my instructors was in the Scots Guards. So yeah, I've been playing and teaching bagpipes for a long time. I'm way too busy, guys. I gotta dial back on everything else that I'm doing. But also, I assembled the Teensy 4.0. I got that done. The Teensy 4.0 is on the audio shield. Now I have to wire up a button board to this. This is also part of Proffie OS 5X testing, which I'm participating in. And I'm kind of late to the game there, but I just got my components in. They're together, and I'll begin testing on that stuff here soon too. But that was pretty big night tonight. It actually took me quite a few hours to prep that Saber with all those fonts and all those presets to get her rolling. I had to do a lot of creativity in my config file to make them all fit, which Brian alluded to that earlier. How'd you get all those presets on there? I actually repeated some blades on there, which reduces the size of my config file, and it's kind of complicated how I did all that, and I don't know that I can do it again, but I had a lot of help from Matt McGreary to figure that out. But the bottom line is that it all worked out, but that Proffie definitely has a lot on it. But it took me a long time to set up that Saber to run all those presets and all those fonts tonight. And I love all these font makers that have jumped on board with open source as well as Plector and other soundboards, Verso. They really help us make our Sabers sound real. And Kyberphonics is a fairly new guy in the Saber sound font community, but certainly he makes some great sound fonts. But I think that's going to do it for this week, and I think next week we'll finish doing what we're doing on that LGT Saber, and hopefully it fires up as pretty as it did when we put the test board on it and got the test blade to fire. And if that all works out as good when we get our Proffie programmed and hooked up, then we'll be golden. So I will walk us through next week all the steps of building the config file and writing the SD card, and then we'll also program the Proffie right here on the computer, and y'all can see the steps that I'm taking. Y'all can see how I copy and paste blade styles from Fernando's library, and we'll probably make a donation to Fernando's library because I use some of his blade styles. I'll go ahead and make a donation so you guys can see how to do that. And we'll Dark Guide's back. He's back. It's the laminator's clean, and yep. Have a good night, Fernando. And next week we'll go ahead and program that Proffie with the config that we make, and if we have time, we'll install it. If we don't have time, which we might not, then we'll wait and do the install on the week after that, probably on the first Monday show in October or the second Monday show in October. So, either way, y'all have been with me from the beginning of that install to the end over this series of Monday night live videos that have run through September and October. Will be another install vid that's out there on the internet for Proffies that included every step in the install. The only thing I didn't have to do on that LGT was a lot of metal work, a lot of tapping and drilling, because there's already a lot of set screws and set screws holes that came on the LGT Saber, so there really wasn't any need to do a lot of drilling and tapping, so it was pretty cool. Yeah, Greg B., I was glad you came in and caught the live. Make sure you watch the beginning, because at the beginning we have a bunch of font demonstrations from Kyberphonic on there. That was pretty cool. And, another shout out to Kyberphonic. Jesse's sound fonts are indeed really awesome. And if you need to know how to get to Jesse's site, it's www.kyberphonicfonts.com, and you can buy Jesse's sound fonts there. And I think with that, we're going to end it. Hey, I didn't have any internet glitches tonight. I know, it is nerdy. I even ripped Kyberphonic's intro video. Don't even ask me how I did that. I have my secrets. But at any rate, I was glad to see all you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it, learned something, found a font you like, and are enjoying the ride on this LGT Leia Saber. So, without further ado, we will see you guys next week. May the Force be with you. Remember, #NerdUp. Pass on what you have learned, and teach somebody else. And we'll see you guys on the next week. Thanks, guys, for joining in. Thank you, everybody, for watching, as usual. I really appreciate y'all tuning in on my channel. And as always,